tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to everyone. I'm Dr. Jean Carroll, and it is my great pleasure to be hosting this very special edition of Lama Live with Lopön Charlotte Rotterdam. Lopön Charlotte holds a Master's of Theological Studies from Harvard University in Comparative Religion. She began studying with Lama Tsultrim in the late 1990s and has been teaching since 2006. She is currently Director and Lead Instructor of the Center for the Advancement of Contemplative Education at Naropa University, and she is the mother of 2 boys, has published essays on the intersection of parenting and spiritual practice, and is writing a book, Sky Mind, inspired by the teachings of Machig Labdrön. She is both the co-developer of the Feeding Your Demons online certification program and lead teacher of the Magyu Path. We are honored to have her here today to discuss Feeding Your Demons and the Magyu Path, especially as we are now in the Dön season, the 10 days before Losar, the Tibetan New Year. Considered a time that brings up unfinished business and an invitation to turn towards aspects of our lives we may have avoided. You'll be guided in a Feeding Your Demons process to bring renewed insight and clarity to some of these personal and collective shadows. At Tara Mandala, we are committed to being a welcoming, open, and safe community for practitioners and students of all cultures, races, religions, genders, ages, abilities, and circumstance. Now, with no further ado, it is my great honor to welcome Lopön Charlotte Rotterdam.
Thank you so much, dear Jean. Hello, everybody. Good morning from Colorado, beautiful Colorado. It's blue sky, and we've had some snow that's beginning to melt, though, so there's still that white on the ground. And for some of you, it's afternoon, evening, so a happy end of your day. It's lovely to be together in this way. Yes, and I love seeing who's here from where. And Leslie from Mexico. We will be seeing you soon in March to teach Feeding Your Demons in Mexico. You're all invited to come to beautiful Mexico. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. And New England and Michigan, Detroit, beautiful. Yes, say hello in the chat. It's wonderful to meet each other in this virtual space. And as we do that, let's also just ground where we are, feeling that earth that you call home, that's your seat in this moment. Letting yourself feel the earth supporting you. Knowing this is the same earth that is shared by all living beings. And so when we take our own seat, and we feel that ground beneath us, holding us, it's actually a way that we're connecting with all beings. And in this experience of connectedness, we can raise bodhicitta, the awakened heart-mind. And connecting with our intention, our motivation, that our time together may be of benefit to ourselves, to others, to our beautiful world. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I have so many things to share with you today. I wanted to first share with you some exciting news of a visit that by a very special person from Bhutan. This is a visit that Lama Tsultrim has been working on for quite some time. And it's a visit by a Buddhist teacher, a female Buddhist teacher. Her name is Khandro Dorje Palmo Rinpoche. She lives in Bhutan, and she is an emanation of Vajravarahi, who is the adamantine sow is the direct translation, but really that crystalline, diamond-like awareness. She was recognized very early on as a very, very small child for her connection with the Dharma, and she's been recognized as what's called a tertun, or a treasure revealer. That means she brings forth texts and practices that have remained hidden until it is the time to bring them into our world. And she is recognized for her deep realization as well as her humanitarian efforts or compassionate efforts. And so Lama Tsultrim has invited her for the first time ever to come to the United States. And we're really, really fortunate that she will be coming here to the US and doing a tour in California. She will be in Arizona. She will be at Mandala. And so these visits will start happening mid-May through June, the beginning of June. And so you'll get in the chat, you'll get some of these dates: a weekend in Encinitas, California, May 16 through 18. Then in Arizona, May 23rd through 26th. End of May, beginning of June, she'll be at Mandala. And then June 6th through 8 back in the San Francisco area. So if you are at all able to see her, this is a very special and unique opportunity to be with her and receive teachings and really the blessings of her presence and transmissions. Most of these events, all of these actually will be free in terms of tuition and sometimes even food. So you just have to get there, and really want to encourage you to make that effort if you at all can. Thank you for all the information in the chat, Jean. I appreciate that. Okay, I will tell you about more wonderful things you can attend at the end of our session together, but I wanted to dive right in. And so this time, these 10 days before Losar is the Tibetan New Year, which this year will fall on February 28th, next weekend. The 10 days before the New Year are called the Dön season, D-O-N with an umlaut on the O, Dön season. And the Dön are like the obstacle makers, these negative, often experienced as negative forces or eruptions in our life that impede the natural flow of what we're busy doing. And there's a kind of way in which they bring to awareness the ways that perhaps we have not been mindful of our life or the things we haven't really dealt with. And so sometimes I think of these as this time, the Dön season, as a time where all the so-called dust bunnies, we have this word in English that I love, the dust bunnies, which is the dust that collects underneath your couch or underneath your bed. You know, somehow there's this sort of accumulation of dust over time. And we don't get to it when we normally clean our house, but the Dön season, all the things that have been accumulating and that haven't been completed, haven't been resolved, come out. It's like the dust bunnies come from underneath the bed, come from underneath the carpet, and they show themselves to us. So in some ways, it's an invitation to look at what is unfinished, What have we avoided? What are we not really wanting to deal with in our lives? And this can be at a personal level, it can be at a communal level, at a societal level. And so it's generally said in the Dön season is bring greater mindfulness to life. Notice what you're doing. Notice what decisions you make. And in a way, it's an invitation to turn towards that which we have not been looking at. And in this way, it's very similar to some of the core tantric teachings of the Buddhist tradition. And I want to say specifically here the teachings of Machig Labdrön, that great 11th century Tibetan yogini who formalized the practice of Che. That's such a heart practice for us at Mandala. And this basic approach, the basic paradigm is to turn towards that which we have been avoiding and to meet it with awareness and meet it with compassion. Turn towards that which you would rather get rid of, which you would perhaps rather destroy or negate in some way. Turn towards that which you are fearful of, and instead bring awareness to it, bring an open heart to it, bring compassion to it. And this really is the paradigm of feeding, not fighting, that the Feeding Your Demons is based on, and that's at the very heart of the Che teachings of Machiks. And for me, these teachings are encapsulated in this very simple but profound teaching that Machik herself received when she met Padampa Sanjay, who was a great Indian master and whom she knew about. And he came to Tibet really to find her, to see her. And when she meets Padampa Sanjay, she's at first overcome with this great honor of meeting this great Indian teacher who's come up to Tibet. And she bows to him and he stops her and he says, "No, I have come to see you." And he bows to her. And then the story goes, there's this interaction where she asks him, she says, "Well, how can I best help sentient beings? How can I best help sentient beings?" And he gives her this beautiful, very simple, very direct teaching. But one of the lines, one of the things he says is, go to the places that scare you. Go to the places that scare you. And in a way, this mantra has been so powerful in my own life as an invitation to go to the places that scare me, and not with armor and weaponry and ready to fight, but go to the places that scare you with an open mind and an open heart. What would that look like? To meet that which we are most afraid of with awareness, with mindfulness, with love, with compassion. And that's really at the core of these teachings. And I think this approach, right, this paradigm is really an invitation, an opportunity, you might say, for great liberation. Because the things that we don't deal with, the things that we are afraid of, the things that we shove underneath our bed, our psychic bed or carpet, really haunt us in some way, right? They are like the ghosts of our life that haunt us because we don't truly forget them, right? The dust bunnies are still there under the bed. The fear is still there. The unspoken aspects of our life, the undealt with aspects are still there. We've just tried to hide them. And so to turn towards them and to meet them with awareness and clarity and actually bring that compassionate understanding and curiosity to them is an act of liberating ourselves, coming into a different type of relationship with every aspect of our experience. And it really opens a kind of view of what it might be to live a life that has that kind of freedom to it. That kind of liberation where I'm not hiding from anything. When I don't have to shove anything under the bed of my psyche, of my heart. It doesn't mean everything is easy. It certainly is not. But it calls on a sort of inner strength of heart, a courage, right? Courage in French comes from cœur, to have heart to meet whatever our life brings. And this is, I want to bring in here a teaching of Machik's, the work that my husband Peter and I do, that we call Sky Mind, is really drawing off of the direct teachings of Machig Labdrön and bringing them into our modern world. And how can we apply her very direct, very pith instructions and teachings to how we live in our world today. So we've been drawing on her. There are a few texts of hers that are still, that we have access to, that are really source texts of Machik's, and they are profound teachings. And so we've been drawing some of these verses of hers, and this is what our book Sky Mind is based on. So here I want to share this, one of her teachings, which refers very much to what I'm talking about now. At the time that adverse conditions occur, it is crucial to know the vital point of taking it on. At the time that adverse conditions occur, it is crucial to know the vital point of taking it on. And Pawa Dorje, if you wouldn't mind putting that quote in, that would be great. So at the time that adverse conditions occur, so when things happen that we would rather not have it happen, right? So this is like the dun season, when obstacles arise, when those things we've been avoiding or pushing away suddenly show up again in our lives. When adverse conditions occur, it is crucial to know the vital point of taking it on. So here's the question. The key point she's saying is take it on. And what does that mean? What is taking it on? Taking it on means to meet it, to be with it, to look at it, to meet it with curiosity. What is it? What is this thing that is arising? What is it teaching me? What is its intelligence? What is its wisdom? What is it trying to say? And how do I meet it in relationship? How do I engage with it with that openness and perhaps even compassion towards it, loving kindness towards it, so that it may open into what its true offering is in my life, right? The view here, the underlying view, is that whatever comes onto our life path, whatever arises, is arising out of the ground of being, is arising as a manifestation of what we might call the Great Mother, Prajnaparamita, the ground of all. And it is here to teach us something. It is here to awaken our wisdom, to awaken our awareness. So in taking it on, as Machik says, in meeting it, we actually are inviting ourselves into greater wisdom, to greater understanding. So this is really the invitation and the beautiful offering of feeding your demons, and the process that Lama Tsultrim developed, inspired by these original teachings on Che of Machig Labdrön. So what I'd like to do is lead you through a feeding your demons process, and I'll give you a moment here to think about what you'd like to work with in this. I know some of you know this process quite well. Perhaps for some of you, this is new. So what I invite you to think about is something in your life right now that is draining your energy, right? A demon, something that is an obstacle to you, that is challenging to you, that is causing you heartache, anxiety, fear. And what we're always working with feeding your demons is your own experience of that. So let's say something has happened, right? Something seemingly external. What we're working with in feeding your demons is your feeling about it, right? The fear that it evokes, or the irritation, or the anger, or the despair, or the anxiety that it provokes. You're working with your feeling about it. Or if you're working with difficulty in a relationship, the demon is not the other person. although we would love to make the demon the other person, right? Make the other person the demon. But it's our feeling about that person, right? So if I'm in a difficult relationship with someone, then think about, what is that feeling? Maybe it's a feeling again of feeling misunderstood, or feeling resentment, or feeling anger, or feeling sadness. And that's what we'll work with as the core of our practice. If you can at all, in the next minute or so, set up 2 cushions for yourself, or 2 seats. So you can, what we'll be doing, because we'll be moving from one seat to another seat and back again, facing yourself. You're basically going to be having a dialogue with yourself and this form of the demon and the form of what we call the ally. So for example, I'll just show you, if I were to do this where I'm sitting without getting up and getting lots of cushions, I might just turn and look like this and start my process here. And then when the invitation is to shift, I would move and I would go like this, and I would face my original seat. Yeah, so if you're sitting on a couch or a bed or on the floor, this will be quite easy. If you're sitting on a chair, if you have a second chair that you can set up for yourself, that would be great. I'll give you just a moment to get settled. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to invite you as much as possible to keep your eyes closed during this process. And let's just begin with some deep relaxation breaths. So first, just breathe into any physical tension that you may be feeling in your body right now. And as you breathe in, let the breath hook onto that physical tension, and then release the tension with the exhale. Now we'll breathe into any emotional tension that you may be feeling in your body right now. As you breathe in, imagine that the breath is hooking on to that emotional tension. And let it ride out on the exhale, releasing the emotional tensions. And finally, we'll breathe into any mental tensions, worries, concerns, feeling perhaps where you're holding them in your body, breathing in. Let the in-breath hook onto those mental tensions, and let them slowly release with the exhale. And now together, let's generate a heartfelt motivation to practice for the benefit of ourselves and ultimately for all beings. Now I invite you to think about the demon that you'd like to work with today. something that's draining your energy, some anxiety, fear. And perhaps recall a recent situation or incident in which this came up particularly strongly for you, so you can really feel it now. And mentally scan your body. And notice where in your body you are holding this particular demon. If this demon, this issue were somewhere in your body, where would that be? And now imagine that this feeling in your body has a shape. What shape would it have? If it had a color, what would its color or colors be? What is its texture like? And what is its temperature? Now I invite you to intensify this sensation in your body. And now allow this shape with its particular color and consistency and temperature to move out of your body. And let it become personified in front of you. Let it become personified as a being with limbs and a face, eyes. If an inanimate object arises, invite it to become an animate being with a head and a face. So see this being in front of you. And notice what is its size? And what color or colors does it have? What is the surface of its body like? And what is its density? If there were any smells associated with this being, what kind of smells would there be? And if there were any sounds associated with this being, what kind of sounds might there be? Does this being have a gender? Now take a look into the eyes of this being. What is the look in its eyes? And what is its emotional state? How might you describe the overall character of this being? Now notice something about this being that you haven't seen before. So you're going to ask this being a few questions. Repeat the questions out loud or silently after me without waiting for a response. What do you want? What do you really need? How will you feel when you get what you really need? And now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, move over to the other seat, facing your original self. As you settle into this seat, come into the body of this being, the body of the demon. If it helps, you might assume a posture or take a gesture, make a gesture of the demon. Really feel yourself in the demon's body. What does it feel like to be in the demon's body? In your mind's eye, look across and see your original self opposite you. What does your normal self look like from this point of view? And now you can answer the questions that have been asked of you, speaking as the demon. What I want is what I really need is This is the need beneath the want. Speaking as the demon, what I really need is when I get what I really need, I will feel. When I get what I really need, so imagine getting exactly what you need as the demon. When I get what I really need, I will feel. So take note of the answer to this last question. What you as the demon will feel when you get what you really need. Take note of this feeling. And now move back to your original seat. Again, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible. And take a moment to come back into your own body. And see the demon in front of you. Now remember the answer to that final question, the feeling that the demon would have when it gets what it really needs. And evoke that feeling again, right now in your own body. Tap into that feeling. And let this feeling spread through your entire body. So your entire body becomes this feeling. And now dissolve your body into a nectar, the quality of which is this feeling. Notice the color of this nectar. And let the nectar go over to the being across from you and feed the being this nectar. Let the being take it in however it can, however it will. You have an infinite supply of this nectar. And nurture this being to complete satisfaction. Notice how the being takes in the nectar. Continue feeding it. As you're feeding the demon, notice if it changes in any way. Continue to feed. Remember, you have an infinite supply. Feed the being until it is completely satisfied. Continue feeding if it's still taking in the nectar. Feed to complete satisfaction. And so if the demon is still feeding, then imagine what it would look like if it were completely satisfied. If the demon is still feeding, imagine what it would look like if it were completely satisfied. Once the demon is completely satisfied, notice if a being remains. If there is a being in front of you, ask it if it is your ally. If there's a being in front of you, ask it if it is your ally. If it says yes, then you'll work with that. Hang on to it for a moment. If it says no, or if you're unsure, or if the demon completely dissolved during the feeding, then invite an ally to appear. Invite an ally to appear. And now we'll take a closer look at the ally. What size is it? And what color or colors do you see? What is the surface of its body like? What is its density? If it had a smell, what kind of smell would be associated with the ally? And if there were a sound, what kind of sound or sounds would be associated with the ally? Does the ally have a gender? Now take a look into the eyes of the ally. What is the look in its eyes? What is its emotional state? And what is its overall character like? Now notice something about the ally that you haven't seen before. Now you're going to ask the ally a few questions and just repeat them out loud or silently after me without waiting for a response. How will you help me? How will you protect me? What pledge do you make to me? How can I access you? And now I invite you to switch places again, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible. And now take the seat of the ally and become the ally. Settle into the body of the ally. If it's helpful, you can adopt a posture or make a gesture to help you come in the body of the ally. And notice, how does it feel to be in the ally's body? And notice, what does your normal self look like from the ally's point of view? So now you can answer the questions that have been asked of you, speaking as the ally. I will help you by. I will protect you by. I pledge I will, or I promise you I will. You can access me by. And then as you're complete, move back to your original seat. Take a moment to settle into your own body again. And see the ally across from you. Now look into the ally's eyes and feel the ally's energy pouring into your body. As you feel the energy of the ally pouring into your body, it spreads all the way through your torso, down into the very soles of your feet, the tips of your fingers, through your whole body. Notice how this feels. Now imagine that the ally dissolves into light. Notice the color of that light. And now let that light dissolve into you. Feel this luminosity integrating into every cell of your body. As though all your cells were bathed in light. Take note of this feeling of the integrated energy of the ally in your body. And now you, together with the integrated energy of the ally, dissolve. Rest in the state that is present after the dissolution. Just rest. And slowly bring your awareness back into your body, recalling the feeling of the ally's energy in your body. And maintain this feeling of the ally's energy in your body, even as you come into this present moment, into the space you're in, and as you open your eyes. Welcome back, friends. Thank you for the journey together. We have just a few more minutes before we close, and I'd love to just see if anyone would like to share anything in the chat, an image, an experience, a feeling. And of course, I invite you to remain in this beautiful space, hopefully that you find yourself in, or whatever is moving through you. Sometimes words come and sometimes words do not come. And either way is fine. But we'll just leave the chat open for a moment to see what your experience has been, if you'd like to share. Thank you, Mickey. Yes, powerful. Sometimes I wish we could share with images rather than words, because sometimes images come more easily and can be truer to our experience. Felt wonderfully powerful energy, full of love. Beautiful. Question, what if the ally became a demon too? So I would suggest in that case that probably the feeding was not complete. And of course, with the timing, I'm going on a basic rhythm here, but everyone has their own rhythm. And so without knowing your exact process here, Michelle, my thought would be that if I were to sit with you one-on-one, we would have spent more time feeding the demon to make sure that the demon is truly satisfied, truly complete, because it's that out of that fulfillment, out of that truly being met, the demon truly being met, that its wisdom can arise. And it's that wisdom that is the ally, that is not other than our own wisdom, of course. So that would be my suggestion. And if you do this process again, to maybe take your own time, obviously, especially with the feeding. We have a lot of amazing facilitators who've been trained to facilitate this process. So if you go to the Tara Mandala website, you'll see a list, and we have facilitators really all over the world, also who lead in a number of different languages. And so if you're wanting to do more one-on-one work with people, and that way the process is really tailored to your needs and your timing, I encourage you to find a facilitator and work with them directly. Thank you for the question, Michelle. Our questions are not always just our own. Others will have them too. So I'm just looking at the other comments. Thank you. Wonderful. Seeing here the power of it. Yes. My demon was actually an image of my inner child feeling very disturbed. The ally was a joyful child. CT. Thank you. Beautiful. Wonderful. You found your guardian guide, Dura. Wonderful. That's great. Nodes of presence within a single field of presence drenched in love. I appreciate asking the ally for help. I had to overcome a small resistance to that. Yes, thank you, right? Our resistance to receiving that help and that love and that support that really is there. So I saw a huge, swampy, heavy energy that cleared off and saw myself curled up and beaten up from the perspective of the demon and ally. The ally was beautiful, dissolved in me and protecting me. Wonderful. Invitation to come to Poland. That's so funny because I've been to Poland a few times teaching, which has been wonderful. And I was just yesterday feeling a lot of connection to my Polish friends and Sangha, and my own ancestral roots are in Poland. So feeling like, it would be lovely to come back. So yes, that would be wonderful. The ally was the 13th Tara. Kalista, my name is Lopön Charlotte Rotterdam. So it's lovely that you joined us, even if late. Fiona wrote, the harsh edges of pain in my body are much less. Thank you. I'm just reading this last comment. Demons, ? Some time ago, writing diploma work, including subject of witches burning one demon, visited me. Till today, I remember his energy of pure evil. Demons and hells are not just imaginations. Yes, thank you for that. And I think, if you go back to Machik's teachings on Che, and I've had some very powerful conversations with Lama Sarah Harding, who's done a lot of the translations of Machik's work. And she writes about in Tibet at the time and the way the demons, were worked with. And even to this day, it's not just psychological, right? There's really a sense of entities that are being worked with and fed. And so there are many layers of this work, clearly, that we can be with and that we can work with. All right, I'll read one last comment and then I want to share a few more things with you before we close. Mani wrote, the demon initially was a heart, then a cloaked woman, guarded and secret, the hidden high feminine, and then the ally, a cloaked man working on cultural theory and the death of the patriarch. Working at a collective level as well. And yes, I think it's important here. We begin always in this feeding your demons process to work at the personal level, but it's always connected to our collective demons, to our family demons, our ancestral demons, and allies and wisdom, right? So it's not just personal work we're doing here. Thank you. And I see more comments coming in. I do want to appreciate time. So I just wanted to share a few more things with you. In terms of this feeding your demons work, as I mentioned, our facilitators earlier that we have. And so we have many programs that train in feeding your demons. And I really want to invite you, if you felt moved by this work, to come train further with us. We have an online training that's a level 1, a level 2, and then a certification level. So you can become certified to facilitate this work with others. Whether you have a therapist background as a counselor, or doing this not as a therapist, but as a facilitator. So our next training our level 1 begins on March 22nd. So coming up in just a month online. So please come check that out. I'll also be teaching, Peter and I will be teaching a Kapala 1 retreat, which is the first level of feeding your demons, and a beautiful meditation practice called Prajna Paramita. It's a nature of mind practice. We'll be teaching that in Mexico, March 21st through 25th in San Luis Potosi in beautiful Mexico. So that's in person. So if you're anywhere in this area, please come. We will be teaching in English. It will be translated into Spanish, so you have access to both those languages. And then I'll be also teaching this work at Mandala on the land in May 17th through 22nd. And please come to Mandala. It is such a beautiful, powerful land. We'll have retreats all summer long, beginning in the spring, going all through the summer. And the calendar of those teachings will be up shortly on the website. And then finally, I wanted to invite you all to our Sky Mind work that Peter, my husband, and I do. So this is based on the teachings of Machig Labdrön, very beautiful nature of mind teachings that she offers, and how we can relate these to our everyday lives. We'll be teaching a Sky Mind retreat in Canada at the end of May, beginning of June, at a retreat center called Hollyhock, which is on Cortes Island. It is so beautiful there. You see the distant mountains on British Columbia. In British Columbia, you're at the ocean, and the island itself is deep, deep forest. And we'll do a lot of meditations outside and integration with the elements, which is a way of really connecting with this experience of profound interconnectedness, or what is called also this ground of being, this totality that we are all a part of. And so we'll be looking at Machik's teachings and having practice time together. So please come join us at Hollyhock if you can. We have received funding from a foundation, the Hemera Foundation, to offer grants to support you in coming to our Sky Mind retreats, including at Hollyhock. So please check those out. All right, friends. Well, I hope to see you again in person or online. I wish you all the best in this Dun season, the season of the dust bunnies coming from under your bed. May you meet them with compassion, with awareness, and may your inner wisdom and the wisdom of all of our world come into awakening. Let's close with a dedication of merit. We gather all the beautiful work that we've done together in this time, our presence, the joy of being able to connect across countries, time zones, with this shared intention of practice. And may any and all goodness that's been generated in this time together, may it go out to be of benefit to all beings, everywhere. Thank you so much. Much love. Be well.
Thank you, Lopön Charlotte. Thank you for sharing so generously and with such care and clarity today. I really appreciate that, and I know I'm not alone in my gratitude. So again, thank you. And thank you at home for your participation and support. And if you would like to go deeper, February is Feeding Your Demons month, and there is an opportunity to experience Feeding Your Demons live in New York City and online tomorrow, February 24th, for an evening of transformative practice and sound healing with Dharma friends. Details are in the chat. The Feeding Your Demons online program offers an in-depth training, and there are more details about that on the link in the chat. And you can see all upcoming events on the Tara Mandala calendar page. The link for that is in the chat. You can follow Tara Mandala on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to stay up to date with our news and join our mailing list to have updates come straight to your inbox. The link is in the chat. And past episodes of Lama Live are stored at our YouTube channel, where you can explore a wealth of free content at any time. If you find it valuable, do engage. Your engagement is valued. Thank you. Now, following the tradition going all the way back to the time of the Buddha 2,600 years ago, you have the opportunity to make an offering of dana to Lopön Charlotte. Dana is a Pali and Sanskrit word that means generosity. Offering dana creates an auspicious connection and is a beautiful expression of the interdependence between teacher and student. Dana directly recognizes the precious gift of the teacher and the teachings, without which one could not practice the Dharma. To offer dana, please follow the link in the chat now. And now, all that remains is for me to wish you farewell, and I hope to see you at the next Lama Live. Goodbye.
Om tare tu re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re